So how was the
Not
national,
the-
man? How was the national?
Listen, it was a national on steroids. It was something that, in comparison to last year's, it was definitely something to experience for sure. There was so much going on. You know, I got there at 10 a.m. Before you know it, it's already 4:30, and I'm scrambling to do all the things that I was trying to do from the start. And before you know it, I got to go home or go to a trade night and then head back the next day. So it was insane.
So what was your strategy? We got Sammy here. Sam, what's up? What's up, Sammy? Good to see you. What was your
Hey, what's up?
strategy walking in the door? And then when did you realize, because this happens at shows, especially the national, that strategy was going to be derailed?
Yeah. So I mean, originally, I had a ton of raw cards that I wanted to get graded, and I knew that SGC was doing the pre-grade. So I had a stack of cards that I knew that I wanted to take to SGC, drop them off, and then move on to. We actually mentioned this in the last live that I was on. I was in search of a Steph Curry rookie, not a rookie card, a Steph Curry autograph card.
That's right.
Whether that was a rookie or whether that was whatever, just I wanted an autograph card graded of a Steph Curry Steph Curry autograph card, whatever that was. Once you walk in, especially if it's at a venue that you haven't been to before, because most people in the hobby today, a lot of people haven't been to the one in Atlantic City because it hasn't been there since I think 2016, and before that, back in the 90s. So even if you were in the hobby previously, you may not have just been to that one. But I didn't know the layout. Honestly, it was a little bit more. It was a little less complex than Chicago. I didn't get lost as much. I can kind of. They had big signs above each row. Five. Exactly. It was super. Organized comparatively, in my opinion.
In Chicago, you kind of had sections. And you could get out of that section and be like, man, how do I get back to that section? And just from what I saw, it looked like I know I'm here. I know I'm there. I know I'm meeting someone over in row 200. I know I can see how to get over there, like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was definitely you could kind of see everything, but it was. You went to Chicago. You turn around and you turn a corner and you're like, where did I go? But it was interesting, which I didn't really get this feeling when I was in Chicago because I wasn't really looking for something in the range of a Steph Curry autograph card. When I was in the heat of the trying to find a deal, that's when I kind of got misplaced because I would locate a card that I actually wanted. I'd walk 5 tables down, turn around, and be like, oh wait, where was that card? And I'll mention this, a lot of that came into play because, I don't know if you heard, but there was basically zero Wi-Fi, zero service. So every time I found a card, so my strategy kind of changed in the sense that all of the cards that I did find and I liked, obviously you want to comp it out. You want to see that where that range of value you want to be as the buyer. So I had to go into my notes, which everyone should do this regardless of whether there's Wi-Fi or not.
Nick, you're saying you were prepared no matter if you had Wi-Fi or not?
Yes.
This man's a genius. Go ahead, bro. Tell us the story. Go ahead.
No, so I was prepared in the sense, well, the reason why I was prepared is because I went to a national previously, so I kind of knew what to expect hardship-wise in a sense, but there were definitely things that came up that where I was like, okay, I have to adjust because, like I said, Wi-Fi was basically walking into a black hole. I mean, I couldn't get calls, couldn't receive, couldn't text, couldn't go on Instagram, nothing. So I actually had to walk out into the street, and if anyone was there, they understand you have to walk down the hallway, down the escalator, through the doors, all the way to the end of the street. Like, it's probably a 10 to 12 minute walk, depending on where you are at the show. So what I had to do was type in all of the cards that I saw in the showcases into my phone, into my notes, and then take a 30-minute break out of the show, go outside and comp all the cards. But what I actually did was I would actually screenshot probably 4 or 5 scrolls on 130 point or a card ladder or alt, and then have those screenshots and favorite them or whatever, and then go back into the show. That way, I didn't have to go back into it if I forgot the prices. I didn't have to type it out, but I had that in my photo album. So then, I had to do that probably a dozen times throughout the whole show, which takes away, I would say, probably 4 or 5 total hours of actually on the floor showtime in comparative to the Chicago show where I didn't have to do that.
No, we didn't have to do that at all. But let me ask you a question. Demetrius says here, Demetrius I grew up with. Sorry, FT, most of us need our Wi-Fi. So let me ask you this question now. This is a question I thought about. So let's say you want to purchase a card. A lot of people use Zelle, Venmo, some kind of Cash App, something. If that wasn't working, how are you paying for a card?
Yes, it really was cash is king, no matter what. It kind of forced the notion of that. Some people, it was interesting. There were some certain small spots where there were Wi-Fi, but a lot of that space was in the Breaker Pavilion, where I guess it was a little bit stronger. It was like there's not a lot of people group wise were in that area unless there was like a huge break going on.
Yeah.
A lot of the big kind of packs of people were in the middle, like by the tops area where they were doing giveaways and stuff like that. But the majority of the time there was a little bit more Wi-Fi in that area. But I walked around with cash. I did my strategy kind of going into it. I took some cash out and had some cash on hand just in case I saw something right away. But my kind of goal was, I wanted to sell 5 to 6 cards going into the rest of the national just to liquidate some things, have some cash on hand on top of what I took out. So I kind of had a base of what I was willing to get down to after I sold those cards. Which it worked out to a degree in the beginning, but as the show went on, as dealers started buying a lot of influx of cards, they were less willing to buy and a little bit more willing to trade, which is actually where I thrived a little more in the trading aspect, because not a lot of dealers were buying probably end of day 2 and on.
Interesting. Interesting. Because yeah, my first question was, man, how would the Wi-Fi affect a card? Like if you wanted to buy something, like say, and you got me thinking about some things now. I go to a show here, I don't walk in with cash. I'm leaning heavily on what is Zelle going to do for me, what is Venmo going to do for me. If I found myself in a situation early, I most likely would have been at that show early in the day. If I found out there was a problem, I'm probably leaving, then going to a cash-based system, and knowing that I'm going to make moves throughout the day based upon cash. I just wonder, were there any deals that did not happen or were difficult to occur because of no Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely passed up on because I had a couple Steph Curry autograph cards that I did want early on, probably I think in day 2, because like I said, day 1, I honestly didn't get much of a chance to look around because I dropped off a couple orders at SGC. I was trying to go to the different booths that were doing the giveaways, got a couple free shirts, got a couple national silver packs and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really look around the dealers much. But the second day, I found 2 or 3 cards in the $1,200 to $1,500 range, and I was willing to possibly try to offer some trade and some cash. But I had to walk away because I had to check comps. And when I came back, every single one of those, 2 or 3 cards were sold, were gone. Whether they got traded for or they got bought. But I was a little frustrated, obviously, because when you go into a show and you want something and things are coming 1, 2, 3, boom, they're gone. You're like, now what? Because as you know, as the show goes on, it gets harder to obtain some items just based on situationally how some dealers get frustrated. Some dealers aren't willing, their willingness to do a multitude of things decreases as shows go on. Because like everyone says, you want to get to a show early, dealers are willing to do a little more in comparison to the end of the show, where it could be vice versa. So that's kind of how that shaped up for me. I did lose a couple, but I am very happy with what I ended up acquiring. I think it was day 3.
That is a card.